What will the future look like here in Pittsburgh and across the country as electric vehicles continue to improve? Will we see just as many electric vehicles on the road as gas and diesel? Will we ever see a day where gas-powered vehicles go way of the horse and buggy? We may not be able to answer all of these questions, but I can tell you that electric vehicles are here in Pittsburgh and looking more promising than ever. This is Steel City News. The electric car has been around for more than 100 years. Electric cars were originally developed in the late 1800s and into the early 1900s throughout the world by several inventors. The first electric car to become mainstream here in the United States happened in 1890 and was the result of inventor William Morrison of Des Moines, Iowa. His electric carriage had a maximum speed of 14 miles per hour and seated 6. The release of the Model T by Henry Ford and the affordability of gas-powered vehicles, the discovery of Texas crude oil, limited range, and the reality that many towns across the U.S. were without electricity all contributed to the downfall of the electric vehicle by 1935. Besides some small initiatives in the 1970s and 1990s, right now is the first time in history that the electric vehicle is looking to have some serious potential. There is a lot happening in the area of electric vehicles right here in Pittsburgh. We spoke with Venkat, assistant professor at Carnegie Mellon University. Venkat has driven across country and back in his Tesla and is currently working with a student research team at Carnegie Mellon University that involves improving battery life and range of electric vehicles.
I drove from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Palo Alto, California. It's about 2,900 miles. The major challenge actually was to convince my wife to join me on the trip. I had the Tesla Model S 60, so the 60 kilowatt hour battery pack, which should go roughly 210 plus miles on a single charge. And so that meant that we would have to stop on average 4 to 5 times a day. In the end, when we did the trip, it was really smooth. It was very straightforward. We started in Pittsburgh. At the end of day one, we stopped at Davenport, Iowa, in this little inn that had a Tesla charger, not a supercharger, a regular charger. Charged overnight, and then second day we marched onwards through Iowa, Nebraska, and then stopped at Denver for the night. And then on day 3, we drove through Colorado, Utah, and then stopped at this little town called West Wendover at the border of Nevada and Utah. And then finally on day 4 we reached California, and it was incredible. 2 things are incredible. One is how amazing the supercharging network is and how accessible it is, and that it doesn't really add too much to the commute time, and it can naturally fit in with the schedule for a road trip. The second cool piece of realization that we had was how good autonomous is. On our trip, the vehicle was in autonomous mode for over 90%, maybe even closer to 95%. So we would get on the freeway, I would turn on autopilot, and then take over autopilot when we had to get out of the freeway. And so it's amazing to see the convergence of autonomous and electric. I lead a research group of about 25 people. We get projects that are funded from the Department of Energy, National Science Foundation, NASA, and various car companies to try and understand how to ensure that the battery packs last longer, they can be cheaper, and can also handle a wide variety of weather conditions. One of the things that's prevalently known is when things get cold, the electric vehicles tend to not perform as well. So one of the things that we are trying to understand is how can you better improve performance while you're running things at low temperature. We would always like to have more power, more energy out of our battery packs. We all constantly run out of batteries in our cell phones. So we're working on things to better improve battery packs that can last longer.
We took a trip to Murraysville, PA, to visit an electric car club Three Rivers EVA. The members of Three Rivers EVA meet once every month to discuss electric vehicles and share their stories of EV or electric vehicle ownership.
Most of the cars now have what they call a J1772 adapter. It's a fancy extension cord is all it is. It plugs into either a 110 outlet or 220 dedicated outlet, and it changes over to whatever the car needs, and it's simple. It takes you just as long to plug in your cell phone as it takes you to plug it in your car. If you have the needs for speed, an electric car is going to blow your mind if you get in one. A Tesla pulls almost 2 G's on acceleration from a dead stop. It's a jet fighter. Even the little cars with the small capacity motors in them, they'll smoke at just about anything off the line. We have our Zap Zebra is 3 horsepower. It'll smoke a Corvette off the line like it's sitting still. Now, it might not keep up for a long time, but that first initial acceleration, they don't know what happened.
Well, I've been driving electric since 2013. The first car I had was a 2013 Chevy Volt. Prior to the Chevy Volt, I had a 2011 Kia Optima SX. And I was spending $150 a month on gas. And it was a turbo, and I've got kind of a lead foot, so my commute was fairly short back then. I was just driving from New Ken to Oakmont, but I was spending $150 a month on gas. And then I drove a Chevy Volt, test drove it, liked it, and I've been driving electric ever since then. And since I've owned the ELR since May of 2015, I spent about maybe $400 on gas over 2.5 years, so that's not too bad. And I have to put gas in it every once in a while when I travel out of town, like up to Cleveland for a Cadillac event just a couple of months ago.
Once you drive it, if you're a car person, you're hooked. The instant torque is incredible, and you can't really describe it to anybody that hasn't experienced it, because there's no shifting, there's no turbo lag, none of that transmission. It's just instant connected to the road. It's amazing, really. I mean, I think it's just fun, and if you can have fun and, help the world and, be a greener place, I think it's a win-win.
Electric vehicles are gaining momentum, and time will only tell how soon they will be widely adopted. When do you think we'll see electric vehicles on the roads as much as we see gas and diesel? Will we see a day where all vehicles are electric? Leave your comments below.